So I talked to Dr. Bear last week, and I was nervous because there was no bleeding that had started, so I was nervous that it wasn't going to start naturally on its own, and I would need to have a procedure or take some medicine to force it to happen. And Tuesday last week, my call was Wednesday, so Tuesday night, the full miscarriage started happening. So I had my call with him on Wednesday, and he said there's a couple reasons why this could have happened. It could have just been where the embryo implanted in your uterus. Maybe it wasn't a good place, because obviously if it's too close to the fallopian tubes or in the tubes or too far down, or maybe on scar tissue or whatever the case may be, that could have been a reason. Another reason could have just been that maybe there was an abnormality with the embryo. So the embryos went for genetic testing, but it only checks to make sure that it has all 23 chromosomes. It doesn't check to see, if there's a broken one or a duplicate of one, or it can't literally check for every single thing. So he said it could have been one of those two things that could have caused this to happen. But he was happy that it actually implanted, and it implanted as strongly as it did too, because my numbers were above average and I tested positive so early. We talked about the next steps. I wanted to run a little bit more blood work, just to really do a full check of my thyroid, not just my TSH. I asked him about a few supplements, and I asked him to look at my ultrasounds and MRI results, just to see, what does he think that the adenomyosis is what's causing the issues? Is it going to be I can get pregnant now that we know that I can get pregnant, which is that's a huge step in the right direction. Now it's just going to be staying pregnant. And with adenomyosis, that's one of the things that is kind of an issue, is staying pregnant. So we talked about that. He looked through my MRIs and my ultrasounds, and he's well, as I'm re-looking at everything, he's it's not really that bad. Okay, well that's good, reassuring news. I asked if we could roll right into another cycle, and he suggested that we wait, let my body fully go through this, and then with my next period we'll try another transfer. And I asked about doing 2 embryos, and he's very anti 2 embryos with me because of the condition my uterus is in. I'm already stupid high risk. If I were to get pregnant with multiples, I would be off the charts on risk. So he doesn't want to do that. We're gonna try again, but we also know that there's a possibility that it might continue to just not work for my body. So there's also still a very real possibility that we might need a surrogate still. So it's not off the table, especially potentially if we want more than one kid. It's just a lot of emotions, a lot of thinking a lot of things through, and I know Josh is very nervous that something's going to happen to me through all of this process, which I'm not worried about that. I don't think that that's would be my concern. And just take it one day at a time. Now it's going to be about 3.5 weeks probably before my cycle starts, and then hopefully my body will get a nice good thick lining again, and we can try another transfer and go from there. I mean, it's all we can do. It sucks. It was like, it almost felt like I was in this weird dream, just kind of like going through the motions, because it didn't feel real. I mean, it did, obviously, because it was like the lowest of lows, but also it's like, how did we just go from this very high to this crashing low within a few days? I mean, I guess that's part of the journey, part of my story, part of our story, part of whatever, wherever we end up. This is just part of it along the way. So just keep pushing forward, and I don't know if I'll have any other reason to check back in before my cycle starts again, but if not, check in then. So November 1st, and I'm headed back out to Syracuse. This morning I have blood work and ultrasound for baselines to hopefully start my transfer cycle. So I said to Josh last night, I was like, I'm anxious, but I'm excited. He's like, I'm curious. I was like, I don't know if curious is the right word, but he's like, well, I'm curious to know, like, you know, if it does work, if it's a boy or a girl. But like, I haven't even got that, my brain hasn't even got that far yet. I'm just like, let's just get pregnant. So it's just like the anxiety of like, okay, we're gonna do it again, and hopefully it sticks again, and hopefully it like really sticks this time. I don't know, a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings, a lot of thoughts over, you know, the past couple of weeks going into this, and after the miscarriage and everything. It's just a lot. But I'm hopeful at the same time too. Oh, there's a huge ass rainbow. Maybe that's like, that's weird. That's ironic. Maybe it's just coincidence, but maybe I'm on my way to go get the ball rolling for this rainbow baby. That's wild. It's like massive. It's taking up the whole freaking sky. It's a full rainbow too, not just like a part of a rainbow. That's pretty cool. That kind of just made my morning. Fingers, toes crossed, lots of prayers that this rainbow baby comes through for us and gives us our Thanksgiving miracle. So we'll check back in, I don't know, probably at my next appointment. So talk soon. Alright, cycle day 12, November 10th. It's 7:40 and I'm on my way back from Syracuse already. I had blood work and ultrasound done this morning. The ultrasound tech, she was new, so I didn't like ask like too many questions, but she said my lining was around a 6, so that's good, that's exciting. It was a 4.8 last time, so I think at this point, with my last cycle, my lining was only a 5.1. So it sounds like it's better already, which that's positive. Yeah. So today's cycle day 12. I'll probably go back Friday, which is going to be cycle day 14. And then my guess is I'm probably going to have to go back Saturday, which will be cycle day 15. And if he doesn't trigger me on cycle day 15 because he wants to wait, I don't know if he would feel comfortable waiting 2 days for me to come out on Monday, or and I don't know if Albany's even open on Sunday, so there's that also. So it's a lot of just like day by day, seeing what happens, and going from there. But so far it seems like we're headed in the right direction. The sun is shining. Holy cow. But that's all I've got for now. Hopefully good news. But today was cycle day 14 for me. I went back up to Syracuse and it was like torrential rain to and from, so I didn't get my usual like checking in video. And now it's, I don't know, like 4:30 at night, and I'm just trying to figure out what the next steps are here. My lining is a 6.9. It didn't change in thickness, but it's trilaminar, and my lining hasn't been trilaminar, so that is an exciting thing. My follicle is a 13.9, so it's still kind of small-ish. And now they want me to do my monitoring on Sunday, but Syracuse and Albany offices are both closed. So these are my options. Cross my fingers and pray and wait until Monday to go to the doctor's. Drive to Boston on Sunday for blood work and ultrasound, or find somewhere just to get blood work done on Sunday and hope that's enough to get me like by until Monday. I really don't want to drive to Boston if I don't have to, but I also don't want to like screw this up and miss like my window. Like, one, lose out on this chance of a really good cycle. 2, lose out on money. And 3, like, I don't freaking know. It's like, I know my at-home ovulation strips. I haven't been ovulating until like cycle day 19. So I feel like I could wait until Monday, but then it's also like, well, maybe the ovulation strips aren't like that accurate and you're gonna screw yourself if you do wait. I don't know. So I'm trying to figure that out. I've called everywhere around here to see if they do ultrasounds on the weekends, and I can't find anyone to do it. No hospital will. I could check myself into the emergency room just to get the internal done, but that's not helpful either. So I'm just waiting to hear back from the nurse and go from there. So, I mean, my body's responding. Trilaminar, I've never had trilaminar. That's really great. My estrogen went up from 50 to 143, which the spike in the estrogen, just like last time, will thicken my lining too. So, yeah, just kind of waiting and seeing what the hell I'm going to do. But once we figure out what I'm doing, where I'm going, I will check back in. Well, it is Sunday,
9:58 a.m.
November what, 14th?
Yes.
Well, pause. The last video I did was me trying to see if I could figure out where I was going to get blood work and ultrasound. And
Hannaford didn't have any openings.
nobody had any availability, so we are in Boston this morning at 10 o'clock in the morning. So
yeah, we left early this morning, drove through. Straight shot, wasn't bad.
Nope, we're about 20 minutes early. Blood work and ultrasound, and hopefully the lining is still trilaminar, and then it's thicker today. Mom said it was going to be a 10. I was like,
Yeah, it's just pushing it too much.
Maybe.
And then we hope that a follicle is 18.
Like close to an 18, if not bigger, yeah.
And then
wait for blood work, and then they'll call us and say
trigger
today, or go to Syracuse tomorrow. So I assume trigger today or trigger tomorrow. Because we drove to Boston, I'm going to end up triggering tomorrow. If we didn't drive to Boston, I would have had to trigger today.
What's your bet?
Trigger tomorrow.
I'm going to say you're ready to.
Headed in. Hopefully the ultrasound tech is nice and she'll give me my numbers before we leave. But
we know how Mrs. Type A can't wait till the portal gets updated.
Well, the ultrasound doesn't even go up that quick, so it's just blood work that goes up quick. So if she can tell me what my levels are on the ultrasound, then when I get my blood work, I'll have a better idea. Versus waiting on them to call me.
They're baby Jesus.
See baby Jesus.
Check back with you later.
Deuces.
So your follicle's an 18, your lining's an 8.2.
No.
What?
My lining is still 6.9 and it's not trilaminar.
Oh, how does that happen?
And and my follicle is 17. So I bet I go back tomorrow.
So hard to know when to stop.
She said it was a 6.95.
The people measuring, there could be some variance.
Yeah, and if my LH isn't ready and my estrogen is still rising, then there's a possibility that my lining can still get
I figured
thicker.
it did this last time, it stalled, and then the last 2 days it ramped.
Yeah.
But there's still a chance it could get thicker though. But you know, it's a 6.9.
It's still fine.
Oh.
Yeah.
But thicker is
Thicker's better.
and trailer is better.
Yeah.
No, last time you picked up
1.4.
in the last 2 days. So even if you went to
7.
follicle went to 19.
Because sometimes they'll let you even, like if your LH isn't super high, they might push your follicle to a 20. That's why they like to do both the work and the ultrasound.
Well, that was an awesome drive for 4 hours. Find out. I don't know. Now we can go to lunch in Boston.
I know, I'm kind of disappointed, but
Nobody knew.
I was like, it's crazy how each cycle can be so totally different. Well, it is Monday, November, I think it's the 15th, 6:30 in the morning. Yesterday I woke up at 5 a.m. Today I woke up at 5:30 a.m. I have a doctor's appointment in Syracuse to recheck everything. And I'm kind of anxious because my lining has literally done 0. 6.9, 6.9, 7. But my estrogen's really high, higher than it's ever been, which is kind of nerve-wracking because if it's high and my lining's not doing anything, I don't know what's going on. So I'm praying that when I get there today, Gretchen's like, oh yeah, it's bounced up to like whatever. Something, anything, like, and then my last cycle, it did go from a 5.1 to a 7 in one day, so maybe this is that time where it's gonna do that. I don't freaking know, but I'm just kind of anxious. And then is my estrogen gonna be too high for a transfer? So I guess we'll just have to wait and see on that. Fingers, toes crossed for this appointment this morning. I'm kind of hoping everything's just like, yep, we're good. Trigger, lining thickened up, your follicles mature, your LH surged, you're good to go. Because if not, I have to freaking come back tomorrow. I guess my follicle's like a 20. My lining only went up to 7.3, but at least it went up. Gretchen said it's trilaminar in certain spots, so if she sees it in more than one spot, she classifies it as trilaminar. My guess would be is if my LH has elevated, I will trigger tonight. But that's all I got for now. Either I will be checking in again when I trigger, or when I go back up for more monitoring. So we'll check in soon-ish. Well, it's time for the trigger. I look like I've been run over by a Mack truck, which I also feel like. 5 a.m. wake-ups are not my thing. So my estrogen was stupid high. What did I say it was? Like 461, babe? Follicle was a 20. Lining was a 7.3. In parts it was trilaminar. What else? LH went up to a 17. Is it 9 o'clock, babe? This never gets easier, honestly. Yeah. And I took my at-home ovulation stick, and it was positive tonight, so we're right on for that. And hopefully this is the last shot I will ever have to give myself to become pregnant. So we will transfer next Monday, 22nd.